shaking the cold before we open up to a couple questions from the chat. And you, sorry, you mentioned to me just now in the off time that you've got some Scottish in your family. Next December, the closing track on the album, it kind of sounds like a Scottish dirge. Like the synth could be like a bagpipe just continuously playing on.
I actually love that you said that because I mean the album's not out yet, so
right.
People will have
Everyone
to wait
file
to
that away. Yeah.
But the last track, I'm actually so happy you said that. The last track on the album is there's a long drone, a lot like a bagpipe, and it's a very, very folky. It's kind of going back to the music I kind of loved. Like I said, I didn't want the album just to be like electronic bangers. Don't get me wrong, there's some bangers in there. But there is some very heartfelt folky moments apparently with the electronic twist.
That's cool. You had, I read in an interview that you once did a kind of very acoustic folk singer-songwriter period in your career before starting Elderbrook. Well, was there any like embarrassing lyrics or like, were you like so serious about it or like?
Oh yeah, like, don't laugh at me. Yeah, no, I wasn't.
I mean, I don't know what it was, but when I think that sometimes, like, especially as a 19-year-old, you know.
Before I started choosing the name Elderbrook and going down the electronic path, I was very much trying to be like Mumford and Sons kind of sound, Johnny Flynn, Laura Marling, all of those guys, and I still absolutely love that music, but I wouldn't say any of the lyrics are embarrassing. Thank you very much.
No, I'm sorry that I even.
But now I'm trying to think back. And I'm going to be honest. I think I took a lot of the lyrics from then and put them into my new electronic songs. So, like my very early electronic music, I was like, what do people in the electronic world sing about? So I kind of just took a lot of those lyrics and put them in with the electronic sound.
I like that though. I mean, I personally enjoy a well-crafted lyric, and I think some house music, it's so, like, I've always thought it would be funny to try to make people guess between, like, is this a house music or a trance music lyric, and is this a Hallmark card? Like, can you tell the difference?
I know what you mean. And I think, that's what I always wanted to do when I first started making music, kind of do something different. Otherwise, what's the point? If you're not bringing something different to the table, what's the point? So, I kind of wanted to bring actual real songs and meaning and life back into the kind of world, you know, which I didn't really know much about when I was.
Yeah, how did you get introduced to it? I mean, there's part of me that just assumes every Brit is like raised on dance music somehow, but I guess that's not necessarily true.
I definitely know what you mean, and I think like I said, I was listening to very folky, chilled out indie music for all my life until I went to a club. And
what club?
Yeah. Well, I went to university near Bristol in the UK, and there's a lot of very, very cool clubs there, which, and I think when I was at university, I went to these clubs, did club stuff, and then went kind of
did club
dancing
stuff?
all night. I don't know. And that's when I actually heard this electronic music, and then before that, I was like, I'm not really into it. Like, I was into the indie stuff, but then it's all contextual, and once I was in the right context, I was able to understand why this music exists and why it's so like amazing and how it brings people together. So after that, I went home and I tried to recreate it.
Oh wow!
But I kind of know what I was doing, so I think that's why in the very early stages came up with this really weird sound because, quite frankly, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was trying to emulate what I heard, and what came back out was like a half indie, quarter folk, quarter dance, whatever, and I kind of just went from there.
That's the best way, though. I mean, there is something nice about trying to understand how someone does a certain thing and learning that, but it's like the weird experiments that come out from not exactly knowing all the rules is just as exciting.
Exactly. Like, and it's the weird, like, it's the mistakes that really make weird and wonderful things. Like, I remember one time I was, again, at university, and I was recording these lyrics, and I knocked a drink over. It went all over my laptop. Luckily, it was absolutely fine, but I was recording, so I listened back, and it was like me swearing profanities all over the place. But there was a really cool sound of the glass hitting the laptop, and I used that as a snare in like 5 different songs. So,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually heard that you once recorded ice crackling in your hot coffee.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. That was also one of my many musical experiments. Like, and also, right, so I was making coffee in the morning. It was too hot. I don't like hot coffee. I mean, you live on the West Coast, you don't drink hot coffee.
Yeah.
But
it's too hot already.
I was putting ice in it to cool it down before I realised you just put cold water in it. But anyway, I was putting ice in it, and I thought, and when you put ice in really hot water, like it does all these crackles and snaps that are really unpredictable. So, little voice memo on my phone, sent it over to my laptop, and yeah, I think I used that in one of my first ever releases called Could.
Oh, cool. Could. I love that song. Are there any interesting weird little samples that made it into this album that you can tell us about?
I'm absolutely sure that there are. I mean, I spent a lot of time kind of finishing off. Do you know what? A good one. One of the ones that you said sounded like a Scottish folk song, Next December. And the interesting thing about that song is I was kind of staying in LA with a producer I was working with. We're both from the UK, but we thought, you know what, let's just go to LA because it's sunny out there. We ended up there for like a month, like refining the album and working on the songs. And last minute, I had the lyrics to this song on my phone for absolutely ages. I was like, I want to put this down, so I put the drone there and went over. But in the background, you can actually hear my fiance and Jake, the producer, kind of making dinner in the background. So there's all these like clicks and snaps and pans and pots and pans and stuff. And yeah, they're in the background, kind of just cooking away, talking to each other. If you listen really carefully, you can definitely hear it.
Okay,
but, yeah,
I will do
there's
that.
lots of weird stuff like that.
I love that. I like that type of atmosphere too. Like when you say little clicks in that, it almost makes me think of like when you listen to a record on vinyl and it just has all those little pops.
Exactly. Yeah, because so much of music now is so refined and clean, and yeah, I think a lot of people really love the atmosphere of something a bit different and a bit, I don't know, off the cuff in a way.
All right, that actually leads us to one of the questions I